Hello, everybody, and welcome into the Apples and Ginos Fantasy Hockey Podcast, the podcast that you come to when you're finally ready to take fantasy hockey seriously. My name is Blake Creamer, and in this podcast, I'm going to detail all the best adds and drops in Week 3 for fantasy hockey so you can get started early and win your week. Let's get to biz. Oh, yeah. Welcome in, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me here on the Apples and Ginos Fantasy Hockey Podcast. Again, my name is Blake Creamer. Please follow me over on X at Blake Creamer AG. I'm on Blue Sky as well. Check out the Apples and Ginos Discord. We got 1,800 members plus in there. Link is in the description. Check it out. Also, please head over to YouTube here. Search Apples and Ginos. Give us a subscribe. Thumb it up. Help us out. Okay. Really appreciate that. But yeah, we're doing the waiver show here, waiver wire for week 3. Unfortunately, tonight, I don't have my best friend here with me. My one, my only, my everything, Nate Niblink. But he's going to be back in action next week. So I decided to create some AI-generated images in his likeness to keep me on track and feeling the passion and the drive to get all this information to you fine folks, okay? And then I asked ChatGPT if it would cross the streams with me, and it said it had an appointment at that time. And then I said, I didn't tell you the time or the date. And then ChatGPT basically just stopped responding. I'm not sure what it means, but if that does happen, I'll let you all know. I think it's going to be pretty damn epic, but what the hell am I talking about? Oh my God, we got to talk about what's going on in the NHL in a little section we like to call Newsies. Oh yeah. Okay. First things first, we got to talk about Anze Kopitar. He's week to week with a foot injury. Some interesting stuff happening there with the deployment in LA. Alex Turcotte saw some extended time on the power play, which was interesting. He's not an ad, but something to monitor for sure. Drew Doughty as well looks to be power play 1 quarterback if they're going to go that route. So just keep an eye on what's going on there in LA. There might be some options for some people here as well. Alex Laferriere has been tagged to move up to the 1C, playing with Kempe and Big Kuzi. That could be pretty nice. He's still power play 2, but Laferriere is a player that, I was interested in the offseason. I think he can do stuff for fantasy. So it's a little bump in his fantasy value. I think he's a good stream for now. So moving on, we got to talk about Thomas Harley. He's dealing with an illness of some type. So, all reports say he should be good to go for Saturday, but just keep an eye on it. Be ready to throw him in IR and grab somebody else if you need to, right? Also, Matt Duchene, is battling injury. He's looking good, though. He's possible for Saturday as well. Was that Duchene again? It was Duchene. He's pretty good at hockey, that guy, Duchene. I don't know where I'm going with that. All right. PLD, Pierre-Luc Dubois for the Washington Capitals. He was out on Friday here. He's possible for Sunday, but more likely he's going to be back next week. So just adjust your plans accordingly there. Lucas Raymond, he missed the game on Friday here. He's day-to-day. He is getting better, though, as per Todd McClellan. He said that, things are looking good for Lucas Raymond, so he might be able to get back in next game. Fingers crossed. Obviously, they need him out there. They were able to pull out the win here on Friday, which is pretty damn nice. Little breakaway goal for Dylan Larkin. Not too shabby. Brady Tkachuk. Oh, dang. This stinks. He did end up having surgery on his hand. I think it was a tendon issue. So now it looks like he's going to be out 6 to 8 weeks, which is pretty tough, especially because a lot of people drafted him in the first round. I didn't have him anywhere. I'm not really interested in Brady in points leagues in the first round, even though it makes sense, right? He's got that peripheral floor. Bangers leagues, obviously, you're drafting him in the first round. But, yeah, it's going to sting for those of you that have him out there. I think there's some players that definitely are going to maintain value. The Pinto Bean, Shane Pinto, loving what this guy's doing out there. He lost his power play 1 spot to Ridley Greig, which is an interesting decision, but he's still providing some fantasy juice there. Greig is an interesting piece as well as a streamer because he is getting power play 1. And then you got Batherson back in the lineup for the Sens. So I think that team will be able to, kind of just stay the course and kind of ride it out until Brady comes back. I still like the Senators this season. But yeah, stinky news there. Stefan Nason of the New Jersey Devils is close to returning. And the only reason I'm mentioning this, first off, he doesn't sound like he's going to play Saturday. But in the past, he has kicked Timo Meier off of power play 1, right? And that's just a kick in the nuggets, isn't it? For Timo Meier owners, which I am this year in a couple spots. So yeah, we want Timo on power play 1, but I think they like Nason as that net front guy. They like the handedness of Nason over Meier as well. So we'll see what happens, but keep an eye on it. Hopefully Timo has done enough to, say, hey, keep me on power play 1. What the hell are you doing? It's Timo time. All right. Let's move on to the next player here. Jonathan Huberdeau is been activated off IR for the Flames. That's excellent news. Their offense has been sputtering here. So, yeah, expect him to jump when he does play, and maybe it'll be this Saturday. Keep an eye on that. But when he does play, he's going to be top 6 power play 1. I think it, raises the ceiling of all the players that he's going to be, playing with, mainly Nazem Kadri. We'll see if Matt Coronado keeps that line deployment there. I think it's good news for both of them and for their power play, honestly, except for the player who gets moved off. It'll probably be Joel Farabee or the Tinkly Winkly man, Morgan Frost. One of those guys is going to get bounced. So keep an eye on that. John Klingberg, the Klingon, the San Jose Sharks, didn't play here on Friday. It was Dmitry Orlov taking power play 1 reps. So that's nice. I mean, at least that's a data point. We know if Klingberg's out, Orlov is getting that power play 1. They actually did get a couple goals. Not too bad, right? But yeah, just check the lines. Klingberg, I think, is worth a stream for sure. Maybe a streamer with benefits. He's going to be a power play 1 quarterback when he's in the lineup. But yeah, just keep an eye on that. And lastly, Carter Hart signs with the Vegas Golden Knights on a tryout basis. Yeah, he's eligible to practice with the team, but he can't play until December 1st. So I don't know what I'm doing with Carter Hart. Honestly, I'm not that interested. I feel like, when he does play, it's like they still have Aiden Hill there. Like it's going to be a timeshare. It's going to be I think a best case for Carter Hart, it's like a 55-45 split because they've got some money sunk into Aiden Hill here. I mean, maybe they just ride the hot hand, but also remember Carter Hart hasn't played in a long time. So I don't get people racing out to the wire to pick up Carter Hart. I don't see a pathway to a bunch of starts. It's like racing out to the wire to pick up Kevin Lankinen. You know what I mean? Like, I like Kevin Lankinen. He's a good goalie, but I mean, you could probably leave him on the wire. I'm not racing out to get Carter Hart for many reasons. All right. But certainly for fantasy, I don't think it makes a lot of sense. All right. But that's it for the news. And now we got to attack that schedule. Yes, we do. Okay. Let's look at kind of the distribution of games here on week 3. On Monday, we have 5 games. Tuesday, we have 10 games. Wednesday, there's 3 games. So a late Wednesday night there. Thursday, 12 games. Friday, 4 games. Saturday is your beefer with 13 games, but it's actually not that bad. And then Sunday has 8 games as well. 55 games in total this week here, week 3. That's what we consider a heavy week here. So you're going to have lots of options, but you probably will have a couple guys maybe on your bench, right? So we have to maximize games accordingly. I like to talk about the back-to-backs here. I think that they're really important for fantasy, and I'll get into that in a second. But in terms of back-to-backs, there's no teams that have a Sunday-Monday back-to-back. That's kind of a nice strategy if you have a move left on your, in your matchup and you're going to win. You can just pick up a player to get a free couple games with an ad that isn't even used in week 3. So something to look at. Long way to say there's no Sunday-Monday back-to-back here this week. There's one team with a Monday-Tuesday back-to-back to open the week, and that's the Seattle Kraken. The Kraken has been released. Who's keeping a Kraken in captivity? I don't understand, right? And how do you release it? Do you have like an underground gate that you like pull a lever and then it's like, and then the Kraken just comes out? And what's he going to do? What if you're on land? What's the Kraken going to do? I don't know. These are questions that I need the answers to. Does anybody else wonder these things? I don't know. Is my brain functioning properly? Anyways, the Kraken have a Monday, Tuesday back-to-back to open the week. There are two teams that have a Wednesday, Thursday back-to-back, and they are the Canadians and the Detroit Red Wings. And then there's one team that has a Thursday, Friday back-to-back. That is the San Jose Sharks. And again, I like to point out the back-to-backs because if you can get players in, that's 2 games for 1 move, right? Or it means you can stream in a backup goalie in like a spot stream if the rest of your roster is full, right? So I just like to identify that and maybe just see what goalies I can potentially get. And I sometimes write those down like, okay, on Thursday, I could potentially get the whatever goalie, San Jose goalie, Askarov. Oh, God, guy got pumped tonight by the Utah Hockey Club. No, the Utah Mammoth. All right, they're the Mammoth now. That's a much better logo. The name, I don't know about that, but that's neither here nor there. So anyways, check your back-to-backs. It's something I like to do. Pro tip. There are 4 teams with the Monday, Wednesday off nights to open the week, and they are the Buffalo Sabres, Calgary Flames, Minnesota Wild, and the Montreal Canadiens. Off nights are going to be, important this week, right? Because the heavy nights, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, they're pretty heavy. So you're probably going to be benching players there. So we really want to focus on these off nights. And again, 4 teams with that Monday, Wednesday. Nice way to start your week. There's 3 teams with the Wednesday, Friday off nights: Buffalo, Calgary, and New Jersey. Then there are 4 teams with the Friday, Sunday off nights: Calgary, New Jersey, San Jose, and Winnipeg. So yeah, it's a great week for streaming. There's no question about that. Hopefully you have some streamer spots available, right? Because with a week like this, there really isn't a reason to have guys on your bench on those busy days. So we're going streaming. All right. Anybody see Old School? It's a weird reference. Let's talk. So this is something I like to try and get into a little bit when I'm talking about schedule attack here, is maybe the ideal situation. Here's like a hypothetical of what you could do, right? This is how I like to stream if possible. So for this week here, I'll just flip over to this. I just clipped Dauber's Frozen Tools, the schedule planner. That's what I use when I'm planning my things. So shout out to them. It's a really good tool. And what I like to do is sort by the light nights, right? And that's how I've got it sorted here. And I will go into all these teams here. But, just again, this is something you could do that I think would be an ideal situation. Let's say you grab a Seattle Kraken streamer, right? For the back-to-back Monday, Tuesday, right? And then you move on to a team that has the Wednesday, Friday, Sunday end of the week. And those teams are Calgary or New Jersey. And yeah, I'll tell you about the players that I think we should grab there. But that right there, that's 2 moves and you get 5 games out of it. So that's how we have to start thinking about maximizing our games, right? Let's say in your weekly matchups, you have 4 moves. So right off the bat, Monday, 3 a.m. or whatever time it is, you go make 2 moves. You grab a Seattle player. So you get the Monday, Tuesday, right? Or sorry, you're just doing that 1 move. And then after the Tuesday game, you grab a Wednesday, Friday, Sunday player, right, from Calgary, the Devils. And again, I think that's how I maximize my games. I'm not saying you have to do this. Like, I don't know what your rosters are, so I can't give you an exact strategy on what to do, but that's an example of a strategy you could do, right? And alternatively, another thing you could do, you could start with a Monday, Wednesday team, right? Like Buffalo, Calgary, Minnesota, or Montreal, and then grab a San Jose player for the 3 games in 4 nights to end the week, right? If you can get them in on that busy night that they have there, which is the Thursday, right? The 12-game Thursday. If you can get a San Jose player in on that night, now you've got 3 games in 4 nights to end the week. They dodge the busy Saturday. That's how you do it, right? And again, both of these strategies, you're using 2 moves, you're getting 5 games played. That's tip-top stuff to me. And that's just with 1 streamer spot. So something I like to do, if you have another streamer spot, you can just grab like a set it and forget it player. You can grab a Calgary player, right? Because you can see here, Calgary has 4 games with 4 off nights, and I'll get into that in a second. But you could just grab a Calgary player and ride it out for the whole week, right? That's 1 move for 4 games. So now you've used 3 moves, and you've got 9 games extra added. Do you see how it's starting to add up, right? Like that's, if I'm explaining things to you that you already know, like forgive me, but that's how we stream, folks, right? That's how you make sure. That's why you leave yourself 1 or 2 spots on your roster so you can stream players in, because you can make up for a talented team that you're facing by just overwhelming your opponent with games played, right? Even if their team is stronger than yours. So it's the game within the game. I just wanted to put that out there. But as always, it depends where you can fit players into your roster. And what I like to do at the beginning of the week is set my lineups for every day in the week and note where the holes are, giggity, okay? And then note who isn't making the cut on busy nights. Then you can formulate a plan that maximizes games for you, okay? But that's how I'm getting the biz. Let's move on. We got to go to the next segment here. We got to lower those expectations. That's right, folks. This is the lowered expectations segment. It's the worst teams to stream or potential teams to drop players from. And as you can see in our YouTube presentation here, when we're talking about lowered expectations, you know, it's pretty much like when you come to karaoke and you watch Nate or myself sing a song, right? You have to lower those expectations, okay? Because the song is not going to be the way that you remember it. In fact, it might not even be in the same key. The notes might not even be the same. I think you're getting picking up what I'm putting down there, but I just like looking at that picture. Get on over to the YouTube, folks, and check out this picture of Nate. It's epic stuff. It's based on a real photo. Nate and I went karaoke one night. This man's intense. All right. He gets the biz. He's very serious about his karaoke. Anyways, there is one team that has, pretty much the worst schedule of the week, and it's going to be Chicago. They only play 2 games. On the Thursday, which is a 12-game Thursday, and then one on the Sunday, which is an 8-game Sunday. So potentially you're only getting 1 game in for your Chicago players. And that's tough because they had a great streaming week here in week 2. So now we're looking at players that we might have to drop. And I think there's going to be some interesting decisions there. So let's talk about some of the players here. We're looking at players like Sam Rinzel, Frank Nazar, Ryan Donato, right? Toivo Teravainen, Tyler Bertuzzi. Where's the cutoff line? Who are we holding and who are we bouncing to the curb? And honestly, I think it depends on, how many games behind you are in the matchup, right? Like we don't want to take L's if we don't have to, right? But some of these players I think should be rostered players like Sam Rinzel and Frank Nazar in particular, I think should be on a roster. But am I above dropping them to maximize my games played if I'm getting decimated there? No, right? Because there are teams that have a good streaming schedule that I can jump on. So again, these are just the decisions we have to think about. But for me personally, I think I'm holding Sam Rinzel. You know what? No, scratch that. I think I'm going to hold Frank Nazar, but if you have to drop him, I understand. Like I just did a pod on him. He's not really doing anything under the hood. He didn't have a great game here against the Vancouver Canucks on Friday. He's not doing too much currently, right? So I think they're all droppable at this point. I'm trying to hold on to Sam Rinzel and Frank Nazar. So hopefully that kind of gives you an idea there. The rest of them, see you later. All right. Thanks for your service. There are also, after Chicago, there are 7 teams that have 3 games played with 0 off nights. So they all play Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. That's going to be tough sledding, right? Unless they're like the prime players on those teams, you're going to have to make some decisions because those are going to be busy days. Those teams are the Anaheim Ducks, Boston Bruins, Florida Panthers, New York Islanders, Ottawa Senators, Pittsburgh Penguins, St. Louis Blues. So of those teams here, let's go through them team by team and look at some of the players we might be potentially dropping. Starting in Anaheim, I think that, this team's gotten us pretty excited. They're really, putting the puck on net, generating a lot of scoring chances, also giving up a ton of scoring chances, right? They're a very young team. They basically just got demoed by the Carolina Hurricanes the other night. It should be a wake-up call for the team that they got to play in all 3 zones, right? I mean, they've got great players. I think Coach Q has been letting out the leash on these guys and letting them get the biz. Guys like Leo Carlson, Cutter Gauthier playing amazing. Mason McTavish looks really good out there as well. But we have to make some decisions on these players. And granted, it's a 3-game week. So I'm not saying you have to drop these players. So just disclaimer there, but we're looking at Beckett Seneca, right? I think, he's had a good start. He's getting good deployment, but I think, I would be fine with dropping Beckett Seneca at this point. I don't think people are rushing to the waiver wire to pick him up. He's not that type of player at this point in his career, right? So Seneca, I'm okay with the dropping. Mason McTavish, I'm trying to hold. I think he's doing a lot that's not showing up for fantasy right now, but he's generating a ton of offense, things like chance assists, shot assists. He's dominating out there. He just looks really good. He's good to go. The periffs are slowly coming. I think I'm trying to hold on to Mason McTavish. We got Troy Terry, Cutter Gauthier, Chris Kreider, even Chicken Necks. I think that These are players that, again, I would like to hold all three of those, but if I had to order them, I'd probably say, oh God, do I go Gauthier over Kreider? Yeah, I would say Cutter Gauthier is my number one, even though he's not getting power play one. This guy is shooting the lights out right now. He looks really good. His line with Beckett, Seneca, Mason McTavish, they're calling it the kid line. It's excellent, right? They're generating a lot out there. I think there's a lot more production coming. So yeah, I mean, I go Gauthier, Kreider, Terry. I hate to say it. I love Troy Terry, but I haven't loved the deployment or what he's been able to do out there on the ice when he is on the ice. So that's how I would sort of order them. But as far as players that I wouldn't drop off of Anaheim, probably McTavish, Gauthier, and Kreider. That's kind of, I'm trying to hold on to those players if possible. Moving over to the Boston Bruins, we got Elias Lindholm, Pavel Zacha, and Morgan Geekie. Nerd alert. Yeah, obviously, Lindholm and Geekie are on line one, power play one with Pasta. I don't think you should drop them. Pavel Zacha has had a nice little stretch here. I think that, I think I'm trying to hold Pavel Zacha. I like the dual eligibility. He's got 5 points in 5 games. I love that. The metrics are stinky, as they usually are for Zacha. He's not that type of player, more of like a, supplemental player to guys like Pasta. His line right now is Casey Middlestat and Victor Arvidsson. See you at the party, Victor. So yeah, I think, I'm holding Lindholm and Geekie. Zacha, I think, could be dropped. Anyone below that line, I think, should be dropped, no problem. If you need to, right? I don't see any other, and I'm not talking about McAvoy or Pasta. Like, obviously, their main players, their power play one players, we're keeping, right? But anyone else, see you later. Moving over to the Florida Panthers, some interesting decisions. Yeah. We got Anton Lundell, who's been the Barkov replacement, unfortunately not on the power play, which stinks. Carter Verhaeghe. People are starting to talk about Carter Verhaeghe. Like, should I drop Carter Verhaeghe? It's a fine question, right? I don't think I'm doing it. I'm not dropping Carter Verhaeghe. I don't have him anywhere, but if I did, I'd still be holding out. This is a guy that can generate a ton of offense. Obviously, he's not doing it right now. He's got 2 points in 6 games. That show ain't no good, Carter. Dear God. But, I mean, on the year, Carter Verhaeghe, he's 65th overall in chuck and pucks, individual Corsi 4/60. So that's fine. 43rd overall in individual scoring chances for. And one of our new metrics here that's available on the Apples and Ginos player evaluation tool that you can get by being one of our patrons. He's 42nd overall in individual expected goals per 60. So that's nice stuff. He's generating a lot when he's out there. He's getting 17 minutes of average time on ice. It's obviously, we don't like the deployment. They're doing everything they can to keep him off of power play one for some reason, but this is a great even strength producer. And I think I try and hold on to Verhaeghe if possible. Evan Rodriguez, I think I'm bouncing him. Mackie Samoskevich, I'm happy dropping him. No problem there. Aaron Ekblad, I think that's an interesting one. I think I'm trying to hold. There's, kind of a lack of solid defenseman out there right now, and he's a power play one defenseman currently. Him and Seth Jones are on power play one there in Florida. So I don't think we need to be dropping Aaron Ekblad at this point, but it hasn't been good so far, right? 2 points in 6 games as well, but he's getting a buku minutes. I feel like, he's probably going to start producing here at some point. All right. So yeah, anybody else underneath those players, and I'm not talking Marchand, anyone like that, like, yeah, Lewis Starnin, get rid of him. I feel like, that all makes sense. But yeah, your real questions are going to be Lundell and Verhaeghe. I'd be fine dropping Lundell this week. He's not getting power play one. Yeah, he's doing stuff out there. He is performing, but I don't know. I don't trust it at this point, and I feel like people aren't going to be rushing to the wire to pick up Anton Lundell. You might be able to grab him again if you do drop him. So it's my 2 cents there. Next team, New York Islanders. I think this is a little easier. Kyle Palmieri, are we dropping him? Probably. I think Tony DeAngelo. He looks like he's lost power play one there to Matthew Schaefer. I'm not dropping Matthew Schaefer. I'm holding him for sure. Tony D, if you have to drop him, I'm fine with that. If he's not getting power play one, that guy's ceiling is severely capped, right? So, and he hasn't even really been getting the minutes that I like to see either. So if you have to drop Tony D, that makes some sense. Jonathan Drouin, I'm not interested in at all. So, yeah, I think the only person I'm looking at keeping there is Matthew Schaefer. Obviously, you're keeping Horvat after that hat trick there. Barzal, these guys are good to go, but anybody else, no thank you. Over to Ottawa, we got the Pinto Bean. He's on a heater. I'm keeping Shane Pinto. I don't give a damn. Okay, this guy looks good out there. All Travis Green had to do was put him in some offensive situations. Like, this is a guy that can do things for fantasy. He's also got some decent periffs, which he hasn't really been, showing here this year, but he's done it in the past. And I think that's a guy that I'm very interested in for fantasy this season. Claude Giroux, Ridley Greig, Fabian Zetterlund. I mean, they're all so-so, right? You got Greig is on power play 1 now. That's fine, I guess. I feel like it's more of a stream, though, and there's probably better streamers out there for you on some of the teams that we're looking at, right? So my 2 cents there. I think I'm dropping all of them except for Pinto Bean. I got to say it twice, all right, because it's nice. Okay, over to Pittsburgh. We got, the super sniper, Justin Brazeau, Ryan Shea. I mean, I'm dropping Brazeau. This isn't real. It doesn't make any sense. He's got 4 goals in 4 games. That's nice. If you've streamed him in, congratulations to you. That's a very deep cut right there. I don't think that's close to sustainable. He is getting line 2 with Evgeny Malkin. That's a nice place to be, I guess, but that's probably like a 30 to 40 point player at best. Ryan Shea, nice little start, but I'm not interested in holding on to him. You got Brian Rustin, Ricard Raquel. You're not dropping them. So don't drop those guys. Rust is getting huge minutes. Raquel is doing this thing here this season as well. Malkin as well. I'm not dropping him. Not while he's scorching hot. I think you got to hold on to Malkin there. So, yeah, that's my thought on Pittsburgh. It's weird I'm saying hold on to so many Pittsburgh Penguins. But, yeah, I think there are better drops out there. Let's go to the last team. It's St. Louis. And we're looking at Jake Neighbors. Hey, neighbor. Jimmy Snuggles, right? Snuggerud. He's been bounced off top power play, so that's not awesome. You got Pavel Buchnevich, Jordan Kyrou, Dylan Holloway. These guys aren't really performing, but I don't know. I think I'm not interested in dropping Buchnevich, Kyrou, or Holloway at this point. Not yet, folks, okay? Jake Neighbors, I know he's leading the team in points, but again, the deployment is going all wonky. They're throwing things into a blender there. I'm not sure that's sustainable. So if you had to drop Jake Neighbors, I'm fine with that. Jimmy Snuggerud, I like him better. He's still getting good even strength deployment, but he's off top power play. I think, yeah, for now, if you had to drop him, I'm fine dropping him as well. All right. But that's it for the lowered expectations. Now we got to move on to a little segment we call Crossing the Streams. Oh, yeah. This right here, it's, our segment where we talk about the best teams to stream from and the players they're in. And normally I do a little segment here detailing Nate and my epic Crossing the Stream stories, all of which are true. And there are many of them, right? We pretty much know what to do when it comes to public urination. Okay, folks? But I want to keep it short and sweet here. Today, I want to just tell you an inspirational Crossing the Stream story and one that is relevant for all of us reaching out for connection in these crazy times. Okay? This is one of Nate's and my first forays out into the wilderness, right? And not our first Crossing the Stream story, but one of the most impactful, I would say. It's, one of the first times we got out together like this. It was the middle of summer. We're at this peaceful lake. Sun is setting behind the mountains. Just paint the picture. Water, totally still, crystal, okay? Nate and I just finished a long day of road hockey, right? We're playing road hockey and Slurpees. Just like, like I had a big gulp, right? Big gulp, son. All right, see you later. This was like a double big gulp. It was massive. Like, I don't know, it was a special day, or I think it was that day where you'd like take your own cup to, the 7-Eleven or whatever, and they just let you put as much Slurpee as you want. And so I did, right? I just took a bucket, right, and filled it up. And just fun fact, Nate likes just plain Pepsi Slurpee, right? Bit of a square choice, bit of a vanilla choice for Nate there, if you ask me. But he's a particular man. He knows what he likes. I like to mix everything in there, see what comes out, right? You got orange, you got grape, good stuff, right? Cream soda, throw that in there. Green, sour green. I don't even know what flavor it's supposed to be, just green. Does anyone have kids and you ever ask them their favorite flavor of like candy or, Slurpee or something? They're just like, green. Like that's a color. That's not a flavor, but that's fine. Anyways, I don't know where I'm going with that. But anyways, yeah, we down the Slurpees. I'm zooted on sugar. Nate has pixie sticks. He's going wild. He does that, right? Nate has about 2 pixie sticks a day, folks, actually. Well, and while he's not here, this is a little off topic, but I'm thinking about a potential intervention for Nate's pixie stick addiction. Okay, so if you're interested in that, hit me up in the comments. Okay, we just need to get a bunch of people that love Nate, and there are many. All right, he's a lovable character. Anyways, this is stupid. Okay. Anyways, we wandered down to the shoreline. Just picture this, folks. Nature, silence, brotherhood. We both step up to the dock and then we just let it flow, right? And slowly, gently, like destiny itself, our streams, they begin to cross, right? And time stopped. The universe tilted. We made eye contact, okay, but we didn't break it. We embraced it. And in that moment, we were a unit, okay? An absolute unit, perfect chemistry, synergy, okay? And I learned something that day, folks. Sometimes in life and in fantasy hockey, the most powerful plays happen when you're willing to cross the streams. This has been my TED Talk. Thank you very much. All right. I'm sorry, folks. This is, what am I doing? I have a microphone. I mean, I've got a public speaker here and I'm using it, damn it. All right. Anyways, let's get to biz. We got to talk about the best teams to stream. I'm tooting around here. I'm sorry about this. All right. Best teams to stream. We got a perfect schedule here, folks. In week 3, it's the Calgary Flames. 4 games, all on the off nights. That's excellent, right? So, if you want to just have an easy stream, go pick up a Calgary player, set it, forget it. One move, 4 games. Bang. So let's look at who we're interested in here for the Calgary Flames. And to me, number 1 with a bullet is going to be Matt Coronado. If he's out there in your leagues, like, you got to get this guy on your squad. He's power play 1. He's top 6, right? Hopefully line 1 there as well. He's only 19% rostered on Yahoo. For God's sake. I think this guy's a perfect stream here. So Coronado to me is my number 1. You got to go out and get him for sure. Blake Coleman is another one. He's not getting power play 1, but he's generating a lot. Like, his expected goals for individually, pretty decent, Blake Coleman. So he can do stuff out there. He can get hot. You got the Tinkly Winkly man, Morgan Frost and Joel Farabee, both on power play 1 currently. If Jonathan Huberdeau does come back, one of those players is going to be bounced. So just keep an eye on that. But I do like Farabee. I've talked about this before. I got dragged in the comments in one of our videos because I like Joel Farabee. All right, for God's sake, the guy is an zone entry wizard. All right, setting up a lot of chances. Right, obviously the man sucks at defense. I think that's pretty clear. But I don't give a damn for fantasy hockey. This guy's finally getting buku minutes. So we'll see what happens when Huberdeau does get back. You got Mikhail Backlund out there, Igor Sharangovich, Zane Parekh, Rasmus Anderson as well. If he's out there, I think is a reasonable option. So the way I would sort of prioritize that, I'm going with the power play guys first, probably Matt Coronado, Joel Farabee, Morgan Frost, kind of 2A, 2B. I like Rasmus Anderson just as kind of a floor play. He's getting a ton of minutes, blocks a lot, got a goal the other night against all odds. Thank you, my man. And then you got kind of your second tier here, your third tier, really, Backlund, then Blake Coleman, and then Zane Parekh, sort of your upside play. But he's getting power play 2. He's not getting a bunch of minutes, doesn't have a point yet. So it's been a slow start for Parekh. He's obviously got to sort of round out his game a little bit. But that's how I'm rolling with the Calgary Flames. And obviously, if Jonathan Huberdeau is out there, like, he's still rostered at a really low level. Let me just check here. I think it's something like, 35% on Yahoo. So if Jonathan Huberdeau is out there, grab him, right? Because he's dual eligible, center left wing. He's going to jump right on to power play 1, in my opinion. And line 1 there with Nazem Kadri, that's a nice place to be. So I would say Huberdeau's the number 1 over Coronado if he's out there. But that's how I'm doing it with Calgary. Let's move on. There are 4 teams that have 3 off nights, right? And they are the Buffalo Sabres, Minnesota Wild, New Jersey Devils, and the Winnipeg Jets. Let's start with the Sabres. They play Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So great start if you just wanted to roll with them. And then they play the busy Saturday. In terms of Buffalo, we got some options here. We got some bits and pieces. Got some power play 1 options, right? We got Zach the Butler Benson. He's doing stuff. How about 4 assists in his first game? Just as we prognosticated here on Apples and Ginos, folks. I talked about Zach Benson in our Players of Interest series with Louis Boulay. I'm taking credit for that. All right. Probably won't get another point all year, but yeah, really nice start for Benson. He's line one with Tage, and he's on power play one. I think the guy should be a priority add for you this week for sure, and then see what happens after that. But yeah, Zach Benson's out there. Jason Zucker is doing the thing again. It's another season of the Jason Zucker experience, everyone. But yeah, he's been one of the more consistent Sabres out there. 3 goals in 4 games. Love that. Yeah, 41st overall in shots to goal per 60. I love that. It is what it is, right? We know what this guy does. He also bangs. He's a beefer. So some good pieces there with Zucker. You got Josh Doan, you got Yuri Kulik, Jack Quinn, Ryan McLeod, Bo Byram, Owen Power, the Power Glove. Lots of options there. I think in terms of the other guys, like I think Quinn, I like Quinn, maybe Doan, Kulik. That's how I'd order them. And Ryan McLeod sort of as the last one there. He's kind of a floor play. And then for the defense, I'd probably go Byram over Owen Power. Byram was getting a bunch of minutes. He played almost 25 minutes the other night. So that is a player that we've liked in the past here. And I think if he's going to get that kind of deployment, we'll see what happens, right? He's got some decent periffs, and Buffalo finally got off the schneid the other night, just burying a bunch of goals, and I was happy to see it. So if Buffalo can get their offense going, we've got a lot of options there, and you could get in on the ground floor, folks. What's it going to take to get you in on a Buffalo Sabres player today? Go get Zach Benson. He's awesome. Next team, Minnesota Wild. Again, 4 games and 3 off nights. Sorry, I screwed up on Buffalo's schedule. They play Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. All right. Okay. And then Minnesota plays Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday, right? So Minnesota might be a good option for a team to get that Monday, Wednesday in, and then maybe go another route like San Jose for the 3 games and 4 nights at the end, right? So when you're looking at Minnesota, they had a rough one here on Friday. Got pumped in their game. But there's still some bits and pieces. Ryan Hartman was out there. He got a decent amount of power play time. I didn't see the game, but his power play time on ice was up there with the big boys. So I'm not sure if there was like some overlap there, what was happening with Ryan Hartman, but he did see a good amount of power play time that last game. You still got Vladimir Tarasenko out there on power play 1. I think it's a reasonable option, certainly for that Monday, Wednesday. Marco Rossi, if he's out there, I think should be a priority for you if you're going Minnesota. And then you've got some defensive options in Jared Spurgeon and Brock Faber. Whoa, he's really talk about a guy that is much better in real life than he is for fantasy. It's something Nate's been talking about for years. It took me a little while to get there, but yeah, this guy stinks for fantasy. He's like Jacob Slavin out there, right? Very good defensively. He's not going to do a damn thing for fantasy. And now we know that, right? But if he's out there, I mean, it's a guy that's at least he's going to be on the ice. He's going to play big minutes. But in terms of Minnesota streamers, I'm going Rossi, Hartman, Tarasenko. In terms of the forwards, that's how I'm ordering them. And then Spurgeon and Faber on the back end. Okay, for the Devils, we got to talk about we're the Devils. You might see that Seinfeld episode. What's your problem, man? El Diablo. Sorry. You get Dawson Mercer, Stefan Nason. Check his injuries there. See if they activate him off IR. He might be an option for you this week. You got Andre Palat and your beefer option, Brendan Dillon. I think the only guy I'm interested in here is Dawson Mercer, and he's been bounced off of power play 1. Now he's power play 2, but he's still putting some points on the board. That's been really nice to see with Dawson Mercer. 4 points in 4 games. Metrics terrible as usual for Dawson Mercer. He's much more of a supplementary player, but he is getting top 6 deployment, for the most part. So, I think you could do worse. You get the dual eligibility there as well with Dawson Mercer, and he gets to play with Timo Meier, that unit, that behemoth of a man. So yeah, there you go. Last team with 4 games and 3 off nights. It's the Winnipeg Jets. They play Monday, Thursday, Friday, back-to-back, and then Sunday. So, again, kind of a back half of the week. They actually played the same as San Jose there on the back half. I forgot to mention that. So, yeah, you can pick up a San Jose team player or a Winnipeg Jets player on the back half of your week. They play Thursday, Friday, Sunday, if you can get a player in on Thursday. So that's a nice piece there as well. You got Iafallo, who's getting power play 1 with the Cole Perfetti injury. Barron is out there doing stuff. I mean, that's kind of bottom of the barrel stuff. You got Nino Niederreiter. He's out there randomly. This guy will pop off for a week as a streamer and then, just go dormant again. Jonathan Taves is an option, but he's really doing nothing out there for fantasy purposes. Gus Nyquist, yeah, that's a player that can do something, but I'm really not interested in Winnipeg here. I mean, if you have to, I'm going Iafallo or Gus Nyquist, probably in that order, just because Iafallo is getting that power play 1 treatment. But yeah, I mean, I think there's much better streamers than the Jets here this week. Okay, there are 2 teams that play 4 games with 2 off nights, and those teams are the Montreal Canadiens and the San Jose Sharks. So let's dig in here quickly. Montreal Canadiens, they play Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. So again, if you can get a player in on Thursday, you can get 3 games in 4 nights out of the Montreal Canadiens. And that's great if there's a player like Zach Bolduc on your waiver wire, or even Mike Matheson. Ivan Demidov, is he out there? I've seen him dropped in some spots. I think it's definitely worth an ad. That makes some sense to me. You got Kirby Dach, Brendan Gallagher, Patrick Laine, right? Laine, boy, he is really just can't get out on the ice. I mean, 11 to 13 minutes a night. That's not good enough. That's not going to cut it for a player with that kind of skill set. He's just not going to be valuable until he's getting prioritized just a bit more, right? So strictly a power play guy at this point. And then you got Caden Gooley. All right, Goulet, you me staring contest, right? Sorry. Yeah, he's your beefer. He's actually looking pretty good out there as well. But yeah, I think Bolduc is a priority. Demidov, if he's out there, is even more of a priority, right? Even though Bolduc's getting power play 1, I think Demidov has a higher ceiling. So yeah, if you can, let's go Demidov, Bolduc, Matheson in that order, and then the rest of the guys. Yeah, I think Gallagher, he's a good metrics guy. The minutes aren't exactly what I like to see, but that's an option as well. Maybe someone I'm interested in. San Jose Sharks, let's look at that. Again, they play Tuesday and then Thursday, Friday, Sunday with 3 games and 4 nights to end the week. Will Smith is still out there. All right, the Fresh Prince. You got Will Eklund out there. Tyler Toffoli. The Klingon, John Klingberg, if he's healthy at this point, and Dmitry Orlov, he's a good beefer, and he's getting power play 1 with Klingberg out. So some decent San Jose options. I'm prioritizing. I'm probably going to Foley, Smith, Eklund. That's how I'm going to roll there. But San Jose still trying to figure things out. Like the team's still just hemorrhaging chances. It looked rough. I watched a little bit of the Utah San Jose game, and Utah was just running house. Like I thought the score was going to be like 10-0. They ended up crushing them. I think it was 6-3, but could have been much worse. Askarov actually made a bunch of saves, but that team has a lot of work to do defensively. So that's my 2 cents there. There are 8 teams that play 4 games with 1 off night. These teams are not that important to me, so I'm not going to go through all of them. They all play Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, except for Seattle, which I will go through really quickly. They play Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. So again, Seattle is giving you that 3 games in the first 4 nights. If you can get a player in on a busy Tuesday and a busy Thursday, then Seattle's a great stream to start your week as well. So I will detail some of these guys. Jared McCann being number 1. Like this guy, he's a must roster player to me, Jared McCann. Even on this team, he's pretty much the only one. Obviously, you got Brandon Montour and Vince Dunn as well. But I think McCann is going to have a better year. He's looking good. He looks healthy. 4 points out there, decent minutes, right? Better than he's had. And power play. He's got better power play percentage. Power play share percentage than he's had. So that's a guy that I am a little bit interested in. He's a great shooter. And they got Matty Beniers up on his line with Jordan Eberle. I like that, right? That's kind of what I was hoping would happen last year. And it just didn't really come to fruition. But I do like Jared McCann. Jordan Eberle's out there. Matty Beniers, as I said, but they're lesser options to me. Jaden Schwartz is not a guy I'm interested in when they have a 4-game, 1 off night schedule. Neither is anybody else on this list. Chandler Stevenson, Mason Marchment. No. You do have some good beefers if you're in a category league, guys like Adam Larson, Eli Tolvanen. Those are viable players for sure in a category type format, right? Both with big hits and blocks. Tolvanen has decent shots as well. Probably get you some PIMs if you're in that type of league. So something to think about there. But yeah, that's it. Those are the teams that I'm interested in streaming from this week. Again, just to recap, it's the Calgary Flames with the best absolute schedule, 4 games and 4 off nights, and then you have 4 teams with the 4 games and 3 off nights: the Sabres, Minnesota, the Devils, and the Jets. See what you can do, folks. All right. But we got to move in. Before we do that, we got another segment here, but I want to quickly talk about the Apples and Ginos Patreon. Get your biscuits over there. All right. We got a link in the description. You click on that. And yeah, there's a bunch of tiers you can join. We've got a supporter tier, which is $2 Canadian a month. Right. So you'll get access to patron only live shows. I'll be doing a couple of them throughout the year here as well. So if you want to see this ugly mug, all right, just pay the $2 to see Nate. Okay. He's really good. Those are great shows, very interactive as well. You can get in and get some questions answered live, which is really great. The next tier up is the Apples tier, which is $8 a month. You get all the supporter level perks plus access to patron only Discord channels. That's really good stuff. That's where you can ask Nate and myself some questions, which is really good stuff. You'll also get access to the show notes, including weekly ad targets, right? The show notes for this very pod that I'm doing right now. Plus, this is the real kicker here. You get access to the Apples and Ginos player evaluation tool, which I will show you what it looks like here. It's been revamped. Beautiful stuff. I've been using it quite a bit, and we have some different metrics in here. Like I said, Mark Barber has been working with Nate and others to help create this tool. And we're using Mark's expected goals model, which is a lot more nuanced to me than just using individual scoring chances 4/60 from natural stat trick, right? Which is still a good metric, but this is a bit more nuanced. And, we will do a pod here at some point, I think, explaining that metric a little better. I don't want to do that right now, but you get the ranks. You can get last 5 games and then the season. Then you can get last 5 games versus the season in some of the luck metrics here. Really awesome stuff. Like just really helping you make your decisions for streamers. So it's a great tool. It also has, kind of a compare tool. You can do a whole list of players as well. Nate will be using this quite a bit when he does his puzzling players episodes. So you definitely want to check that out. But yeah, you need that $8 tier to do that. Then there's a $15 tier as well. If you do that, you're nuts, and we appreciate you and love you. All right. You're a beautiful and unique snowflake. But if you do that tier, you get all these other perks, plus any question asked to Nate or myself answered anytime. We will get to biz with you there. So yeah, that's the Patreon. Definitely check that out. Check out the Apples and Ginos Discord. But let's move on. We got to go to the next segment here. The dream streams. Yeah. These right here are just the best players to stream based on the off nights that we have here, right? So from those teams that I talked about, I kind of rank the players in terms of how I would draft them, all right? So, or pick them up off the waivers. So let's go ahead and do that, okay? At number 1, Matt Coronado. I think he's the clear ad here. Number 2, Zach the Butler Benson. Maybe that's a hot take. I don't know. I'm not valuing him like this 4-assist player, right? He's not that player, but this is a guy with underlying talent, and he's getting elevated up the lineup, and he already had a great first game, right? So don't expect that, but expect, I think there's something there with Zach Benson, and, the Sabres finally exploded when he got back into the lineup. I don't think that's just a coincidence. So I'm a big fan of that player. Jason Zucker is my number 3. You got another power play option. Marco Rossi at number 4. I really like Rossi. I like the underlyings. Yeah, he doesn't have power play 1, but he's got great even strength deployment. Too bad Minnesota can't score at even strength, but eventually they will, folks. And then Rossi's going to get the biz. At number 5, I got Morgan Frost. All right, the Tinkly Winkly man. It's the 3rd time I've said that this episode, and I feel good about that. All right, we'll get a Tinkly Winkly count in here. That's 4. Number 6, Vladimir Tarasenko for that power play deployment. Blake Coleman at number 7, just for a floor play. He's getting minutes. He can generate some offense on his own. Number 8, Joel Farabee for the power play and the minutes that he's getting. Dawson Mercer at number 9, just a nice safe pick in the top 6. And Jared McCann at number 10. I just like the player. I feel like, yeah, you can get him in. If you can get him in for those 2 busy nights, it's going to be a smash for you. And then honorable mention, Jonathan Huberdeau, if healthy, he becomes an immediate ad. I think he jumps up to the top of the list, honestly. So take that for what it is. That's how I'm streaming there for points, right? That's best for points ranked by me. Let's look at best players for hits ranked. You are looking at Ryan Lomberg. Lomberg? And yeah, we're going to have to get you to go ahead and come in on Saturday as well. Okay. Lomberg. Yeah, he's really good. He hits like a truck. He does that. This guy's hilarious out there too. So Ryan Lomberg of the Flames, he's good to go. Jeremy Lozon to be number 2. Big hitter, obviously. Will Cooley High Harmony. Matt Rempe, both of the Rangers. These guys do a lot of hitting out there. Yakov Trenin of Minnesota, he likes to do that as well. So those are my top 5 for hits. Top 5 for blocks here, ranked. Braden McNabb, number 1. Brett Pesce, number 2. My cousin Vinny. Adam Larson, number 3. 4, Connor Timmins. And then 5, Joel Hanley. Those are your block parties. So, yeah, pretty easy stuff here. But, yeah, some decent options here for you to stream. I really like, the points ranking there. We got some bits and pieces. Let's move on to the next segment. Hold me. This is a segment where we talk about the players that we want to hold in the dark, stormy night. All right. We want to hold them tight and never let them go. All right. And basically what I mean by that is these are players to just have on your roster, moving forward. These are players that I think should probably be added, 50% rostered and under on Yahoo. Let's dig in. I'm just going by percentages right now, and then I'll identify the players that I'm actually really interested in. So number 1, Elias Lindholm. He's 49% rostered on Yahoo. Should be added, right? Line 1, power play 1. What are we doing? Cutter Gauthier at 46%. I love that. That's climbing. I really do think this is a guy that can do something. Shout out to Nate. Nate's been singing this man's praises for a long time, and it's definitely coming true a lot sooner than I thought it would, even without power play 1. So I'm definitely on the Cutter Gauthier train at this point. Number 3, Dylan Cousins at 46%. This guy's crushing me in one matchup here. He's having a great week. Big time hits. He finally scored the other night. So he's power play 1. I think he's going to be looked at to pick up the slack with Brady out of the lineup. Brock Besser at 45%. Yeah, I love Big Bess. I mean, he didn't score tonight, but got the shootout winner. All right. And I needed that. Love this man. Beautiful head of hair. Number 5, the Pinto Bean, Shane Pinto at 44%. I think he needs to be added. Sean Monahan, number 6, 43%. He's not doing anything this year, but I think he's got a lot more in the tank. He's got access to Marchenko. He's got power play 1. It's going to come, folks. I like Sean Monahan, 43%, too low. Number 7, Will Smith, 41%. Yeah, his deployment's all over the place. I don't really like that, but I trust the talent of the player. I think he'll get back on that top line with Macklin Celebrini pretty soon here. Number 8, Jared McCann at 40%. Number 9, Alexis Lafreniere, 37%. This guy needs to be added. I talked about him yesterday. Power play 1, top 6 with the Rangers. He's going to start cooking, folks. Get Alexis Lafreniere in your lineup. Number 10, Zach Bolduc, 38%. Number 11, Nick Schmaltz, 34%. Hattie tonight. Hattie for Nick Schmaltz. Who saw that coming? I think this he's been putting the biscuit in the basket. He's firing pucks at the net a little bit more, with a little more regularity here. Even last season, end of last season, he was shooting a little bit more. So I like Nick Schmaltz. 34%, too low. He's on that power play. They took Barrett Hayton off. They put Logan Cooley on. Nick Schmaltz role still secure. So yeah, there you go. Get him in your lineup. I think that's a good add. Marco Rossi at 31% and Leo Carlson at 29%. Carlson looks good to go. This could be an actual breakout season for Leo Carlson. It's funny because the underlying metrics, the individual, scoring and chance generation, that's not really what Leo Carlson does, right? It's not what he shows out in, but I mean, damn, the other night, this guy's really driving play. And here we go. I'm saying this, and then I pull him up in the rankings. This is something that Leo Carlson has not done historically, but so far this season, we're looking at six points in 4 games. Love that. 38th overall in shots a goal per 60. So what the hell am I talking about? 18th overall in chuck and pucks per 60. And his line there, 1st overall in Corsi 4 per 60 and 2nd overall in scoring chances 4 per 60. Those are the on ice numbers. This he's a wagon out there. He was really the only player the other night against Carolina that was actually doing anything positive. He looked really good out there. So I think Leo Carlson is a must-add player. It's my 2 cents. And the players I'm mostly interested in there, Cutter Gauthier, Leo Carlson, Nick Schmaltz, and Alexis Lafreniere. Those are the guys I'm targeting myself. And the Pinto Bean, I got to say it again, but I already have him in a couple spots because I jumped on it as soon as he started playing some more minutes. Sub 20% rostered here on Yahoo. Matt Coronado, 19%. what are we doing? Trevor Zegras at 17% did get bounced down to power play 2, but he's still getting like the 17 to 18 minute treatment. I think that's more than enough for Zegras to give us some value in fantasy hockey. Troy Terry at 16%, I still think has some juice. He's going to find his legs here. Matty Beniers at 15%. Ryan O'Reilly at 13% as well. You could do a lot worse. The guy's line 1, power play 1. And that team, it's not an exciting team offensively, but still access to Philip Forsberg and then, Roman Josi on the power play as well. And Stamkos, I think Ryan O'Reilly should be able to walk into a few points. So 13% seems too low there. Obviously, Matt Coronado is my top target in the sub 20. Sub 10%, we're looking at Jackson Blake. Yeah, he's at 10% right now. Connor Garland at 9%. Another, I love Connor Garland. 9%, that's too low, folks, right? It should be 11. He should be at 11%. How dare you? All right. Zach Benson, 8%, should be much higher as well. Mackie Samoskevich, 8%. He's getting line 1 treatment now, or he did last game, which is pretty nice. And the coach called him out personally, which I thought was really interesting from Paul Maurice. Said he liked Samoschevich's game. Everybody else he didn't really like. So I think he could get a little bit of run here. If we see him on power play 1, yeah, now we're cooking there with Samoskevich. Jason Zucker at 6%. Already talked about him. Barrett Hayton at 6%, I think has some bits and pieces as well. But Jackson Blake and Zach Benson are the 2 players that I'm most interested in from the sub 10%. Let's look at the long-term plays on defense. Jake Wallman, 49% rostered. He's on IR currently, but should be coming back to play soon. I think that's a guy you need to get in your lineup. If you have, if he's out there on your rosters and you can just add a player right to your IR plus, do it. There's no reason for Jake Wallman to be on your wire right now. Sam Renzel at 38%. I do like the player. Obviously, Chicago doesn't have a great week here coming up, but I still really like the player. Power play 1. The Hawks look like they figured something out offensively, right? I just watched the Canucks-Hawks game, and yeah, they looked fine out there. They didn't look lost the way they did last season. So at least offensively, I think, yeah, there's some stuff there. And Connor Bedard, he looks really good. I mean, he's not scoring, right? But he does look good out there. He's making things happen. So I think Sam Renzel is a fine add at 38%. Mike Matheson, 35%. Travis Sanheim at 28%. I've got Sanheim in a couple spots because I faded D to a stupid level, and he was like the only guy left. And I like what I'm seeing from Travis Sanheim. It's excellent. He's getting a ton of minutes, which is great, like averaging almost 27 minutes. My God. 4 points in 4 games. That'll play, right? He's getting some decent periffs as well. You could do a lot worse. And yeah, that seems like a really low percentage there for him to be rostered. Sub 20% rostered defenseman, Brant Clark at 19%, whatever. Tony D at 10%, Tony DeAngelo and John Klingberg at 8%. I'm not interested really in any of those 3 players, but they're out there, right? I mean, Brant Clark, he should get power play 1, but they're just not doing it, right? And I guess I understand why, but it still could be a couple seasons before we get the full Brant Clark experience. Moving over to the tendies, long-term plays for goalies. We're looking at Spencer Knight, 45% rostered. He had a really nice game here against the Canucks. Took the L in the shootout, but yeah, looked good out there. I think that's reasonable, right? Chicago is not exactly the same horrid defensive team that they were last year. They're maybe just a step up, right? They're not the worst. They're like the 5th worst, right? And I think Knight could be one of these guys that ends up with like a decent, goal saved above expected at the end of the year. Maybe kind of like a Lucas Dostal was last year. I think Spencer Knight maybe could do that this year. Jet Greaves is out there, 39% rostered. Cam Talbot has taken the net in Detroit. It seems like he's at 35%, although Gibson did win one tonight against Tampa Bay. Shout out to those legends that streamed John Gibson in against Tampa Bay tonight. They must have known that Nikita Kucherov is going to be out for that game. They got the dub with Johnny Gibb. I dropped him in a spot here. I couldn't take it after one game. I'm like, the hell out of my sight. No. But I picked up Jake Allen, which, that feels pretty good, right? With the Markstrom injury. UPL is 30% rostered, 32% rostered, sorry. He's on the IR currently. Just keep an eye on that. I think he'll take the net back when he gets healthy. And Jake Allen at 17%, as mentioned. I think he's a great ad. He looked good the other night. He's going to be taking the bulk of starts there with Markstrom out. Keep an eye on Nico Dawes as well. Maybe they split the net. I don't know. That would suck for Jake Allen, but Nico Dawes is a viable option as well if he's out there, but I'm taking Jake Allen. Sub 25% rostered. Elvis Merzlikins, 13%. He's looked good in his starts. He hasn't won. But yeah, decent starts. Daniel Vladar, 8%. Anton Forsberg, 8%. Forsberg is an interesting option to me with the Kemper injury. We don't know how long that's going to be. So Forsberg could get some run here. Again, you could do a lot worse. The Kings are a quote-unquote good defensive team, but they have Cody Ceci. What are we doing, folks? For God's sake, are they just trying to change their identity? Like, we were a good defensive team, but we don't like that moniker anymore. Now we just want to be, fire drill in the defensive zone. Cody Ceci getting our team. Cody Ceci's a good person. All right. He's a big listener to the show. Shout out to you, Cody. We're happy to have you. All right. But that's it for the Hold Me segment. Now we got to get into the head-to-head streamer deathmatch. Yep. It hasn't been going well for me this week. I picked Frank Nazar. Nate picked Anton Lundell. We're going APL scoring here. They both have one game left. But yeah, I'm trailing. Lundell has 13.1 points. Nazar has 7.3 in the scoring format. So I'm going to need a big Frank Nazar game on Sunday to overtake Nate, but it's okay. I mean, if you've watched this segment over the years we've been doing it, you know how I get the biz, right? I can take a couple L's off the start. It's not a problem, right? Because once I get cooking, Nate, it's just a matter of time. Sorry, Nate. But yeah, we'll see what happens here. Lundell's looking good to maybe take this week. We do have new picks that we're going to do. Nate is first pick this week, and he's taking Matt Coronado. Obviously, makes some sense there. We go 25% rostered and under, and we make two picks. So Nate is taking Matt Coronado. I'm taking Zach Benson. I feel really good about Zach Benson this week. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, this one's not over, Nate. Okay. All right, Nathaniel. You're on notice. Okay. But that's it, folks. I did it. I did the waiver wire show by myself. And yeah, I feel good about that. All right. So thanks for sticking with me. I really appreciate that. Hope this helped you. I'll just get into the whole spiel. What am I doing? Hopefully it brought you some value and helped you get just a little bit better at fantasy hockey today. All the advanced stats you heard from today came from Natural Stat Trick, which is a terrific free resource. Microstats you heard from came from All Three Zones, a terrific paid resource. I also mentioned some stuff from moneypuck.com as well. I should shout them out. Many thanks to Matt Creamer, my brother, for supplying the music to the podcast. But that's it, folks. Until next time, celebrate your day. Bye for now.